The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I'm back here with Joe. Actually, Joe never left. This is just the third thing we're recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the magic of the internet. Yeah. Anyway, Joe, you've been you were texting me and you were pointing out this this amazing tweet. No, I'm kidding. Definitely not that. You were pointing out this amazing comic that you were reading, and I was thinking, wow, we don't talk enough about cool modern comics that you're reading and are really enjoyable and great. And so let's have a nice positive video. What's this amazing new comic that you read?
It's a Batman comic from the Silver Age.
Oh, hang on a second. The Silver Age. How?
Yeah.
What issue is this?
This is was it Batman 107? It's the first. It's the first appearance of Owlman, but not the Owlman you're thinking of.
Oh, it's not a Watchmen crossover?
No, it's Dick Grayson.
Oh, Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson, because he's all grown up for a very stupid reason.
Okay, we got to get into this. So, yeah. This comic. Let's see. When is this comic coming out here? A screenshot. I cannot. Okay, 1957. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
1957 Batman, and okay, so I opened up this book and I get this line, and I'll stop. I really got to turn over to you. You got to talk us through this thing that says, "Is there anyone lonelier than a lonely youngster?" Sounds slightly creepy.
Yeah.
Certainly Danny was lonely until he met a friend made of stone. And it was this friend, this image of granite, that propelled Danny into the most exciting adventure of his life. You will see how in the heartwarming story of the boy who adopted Batman.
Yeah. So this is a story, and I'm going to read a line here to set this up as well. Also, this page is signed by Bob Kane, even though he literally did nothing in this book. Props to Bob Kane. But
why, by the way, did we never get a Bob Kane and Stan Lee Presents story? Wouldn't that have been like when they did the amalgam stuff? Shouldn't we have gotten that?
You'd think so. That would have been wonderful.
Yeah. Come on, anyway. Tom Brevoort. You should have put that together.
But so we get this panel because his father is dead and his mother works all day. Danny Benson is a lonely boy who's adopted another quote unquote father, and it's not Batman. It's just a statue of Batman sitting like that statue of Abraham Lincoln in Gotham City for some reason.
Yeah, it's this is wild, and you get the sense from this that the boy goes there a lot. In fact, I think he says it's still nice to have someone to talk to every day after school. I hate to bother mom because she's so tired when she comes home from work. So I talk to a statue in a park.
And now the vanity of Batman stalking a boy obsessed with his statue.
Batman is wiggling around in the bushes, overhearing a boy talk to a Batman statue. And Batman looks super excited about this.
Yeah, so excited that the night after that, they work hard and long in the workshop of their secret bat cave to build him a bat cycle.
A bat bicycle.
Yes. It is a bicycle that looks difficult to ride because the handles are bat wings, and it looks like you would just cut yourself.
The kid's slicing his hands open if he tries to ride this thing.
And it also has a miniature bat signal.
And they leave it at this kid's house, and then Batman and Robin, like a bunch of perverts, sneak around and hide behind the statue again to overhear this boy talking to him.
Yeah, about how happy he is that he got this bike, and how he ends up like showing off that he's got a miniature bat signal.
Yeah. Well, and that leads, as the kid's describing this, Batman's like, oh, there's probably crime. And so he decides to reveal himself to the boy. I don't mean it that way. But he basically springs into action and speeds off to go find these people who were scared at the boy shining a bat symbol in their face from his bicycle.
Yeah, because if you saw a boy on a bicycle with that had a bat signal on it, you would immediately be spooked as a criminal, because, like, sure.
Yeah,
sure,
of course you would. So hijinks ensue. They chase these criminals around, and they're in a laundry, and then Robin deduces that the laundry is a front for some illegal business. They don't really know what. In fact, this entire thing, they kind of come in and just start punching the shit out of people. They're still not sure what the crime is, but they do, jam a ironing board in a guy's face, and Batman pretty much punches somebody so hard he flips 180 degrees and jumps down a chute. But then they admit they have no idea if there's a crime, but there's got to be one.
It's they're making buttons. It's like a counterfeit button operation.
Yeah. And so, the master detective, needing more leads, decides to go back to the boy and ask him to think harder about what he saw. Like that's where we're at in Batman's crime fighting here.
Yeah, but then so the boy goes back to the statue where the criminals, because they chased him, and he crashes his car into the statue. Don't worry, the Batman statue's fine. And then this guy has a gun and is with the kid. And, it takes Batman a minute to get over there. So Batman's like, I'll endanger this kid's life. And, the kid stops the criminal with the bat signal, gets in his eye just in time for Batman to punch him really hard in the face.
and we learn that now this is the crime. It's not buttons, they're tokens. It's a button factory as a setup for punching and stamping counterfeit transportation tokens. They're making fake bus tokens.
Yeah.
That is, and there's criminals who have guns who are trying to shoot children to protect this criminal enterprise. They are, in fact, they are the counterfeit token mob.
And this isn't even like the most insane part of the comic. The most insane part's the end, where the cop, that brings the boy home immediately falls in love with his mom.
I mean, and it's very, basically he says, you've got a good boy. I'd like a boy, I mean, everybody's horny in this scene. He's like, I'd like a boy just like this. And he goes to, if I were ever married. She's like, oh, you're not married? He's like, well, why don't you have dinner? And the boy's really happy. Oh, ho, I got myself a new dad. And sure enough, and days later, Danny stops for the last time before the Batman statue. Mom and Mr. Ryan are getting married. I'll have a real father to talk to. Fuck off, Batman.
So they're going to get married. It says days later. So it's like
quick engagement.
Less than a week after meeting his mom, this officer is putting a ring on it, I guess.
Yeah, well, you know.
And yeah, and then Batman claims he'll never forget Danny Benson, but I don't think he ever shows up again.
Yeah, well, I mean, City of Bruce rules. He probably did, you know, he probably is the father.
True, that makes sense.
Okay, well, the comic segues to a. Try and explain this to me. This is a one-page story about nursing. I'm not making this up, folks. This is Buzzy learns about careers in nursing.
This isn't a Batman comic. It is a one-page comic in a Batman comic book.
About you could be a nurse.
Yeah.
I like the first line of this. Welcome to Broken Leg Alley, kids. Okay. Well, then we go back to Batman, right?
Finally, more Batman.
Now tell me about this second story.
So in this story, Robin falls in love
with Batman.
Well, no, it's Robin is suddenly inflicted with the not gaze and is really into this, ice skating girl.
Well, I mean, as you do.
Yeah, so they go to this ice skating thing, and she's jumping through fire, and he's like falling for her, but there's something fishy going on. Because they're all like the guy who's taking the picture seems like he's a little sketchy. He might be doing something that's gonna lead to Batman punching him later. It's probably a safe bet.
We do get this scene of Batman and Robin driving somewhere. Robin's got his hands behind his back, clearly a huge boner off panel, and says, I couldn't take my eyes off this girl. And Batman's like, if you had, Robin, you'd have noticed the news photographer forgot to remove the lens cap when he took your picture. So Batman's determined to kill any hope of Robin finding a girl.
Yeah, well, why? Why should he? Why go buy milk when you've got a cow at home?
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Goddamn. Okay. So anyway, but Robin kind of continues to go for this girl. He's there, and he's in competition with this other yokel, and but I mean, they have some hijinks with a rug. The Batman rolls downstairs to beat up some criminals, and then there's this giant spool of thread and a scissor and a pair of scissors, and Batman takes the giant spool of thread and finds that a criminal is hiding in it. Like, what the fuck is even going on here?
Yeah, no. So there's all these hijinks because this is all like a money that's being raised. This is like a charity thing, I think, because criminals are always stealing from charities in these things.
Yeah, well, sure. Yeah.
So they know there's a thing going on with the competition, money. So what they do here is they're hiding out, and they got a lead now of the criminal world, and that photographer is back, and he's in a safe, and he's taking money. It's exactly what I said was going to happen, where it turns out the guy with the fake camera clicky thing, camera doesn't work, going to come up later.
I mean, and there's a guy dressed in a turban later.
Yes. Stealing
skates that were auctioned, trying to take the money. And this is maybe one of my favorite lines in the story. Oh, hey, okay, Hefe, your number's up.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good.
Then they have to jump through fire. And
yeah.
What is even going on? So this entire comic goes on, and then And then they capture this guy, and then there's this awkward bit where Robin and the girl he liked, Vera, both of them thought they broke the date, and so they patch up the misunderstanding, and everything's okay. But then the comic ends with, hey, Robin, I'm glad your romance with Vera worked out, because we wouldn't have captured Hefe here if you hadn't done this. And then Robin, even though he got back together, or he patched things up, patched up their misunderstanding, he says, I didn't think of it like that, Batman. Anyway, from now on, I'm keeping my mind on criminals, not girls.
Yeah.
So fuck those girls.
Well, this is, you do a story like this to remind everyone that Robin very much likes girls. He's just not going on dates because he's got to focus on being Robin. But so this is the establishment of that. Because the whole point of this age of comics is they introduced Batwoman to prove that Bruce isn't gay. Vicky Vale starts coming back in the comics to prove that he's not gay. They do this, because this is all stemming from, this is 56. This is only a little after Wortham and, the Senate hearings and all that. And they're,
okay. So this is all just, to make sure we're all clear. There's no gay here.
Yeah. So they went out of their way to make sure everyone knew in 1956 that Batman's sidekick Robin is definitely not gay.
Okay, well, I'm glad they cleared that up. Whereas years later, Tim Drake says, "Fuck those criminals. I want the boy."
Yeah,
kind of sounds like an asshole now. I mean, Dick didn't have time for women, but anyway. Okay, well, then we get a little essay about how cabbies help police officers.
Yeah, no, you got to do this stuff. The kids got to know. In an issue of Detective Comics not too long before this, they had a whole thing where Bruce was a cabbie. It was pretty funny.
There's a lot of police stuff in here. We got then this Casey the Cop little strip where a woman's parked in front of a fire hydrant. I'm not sure what the joke was, but it's there. I mean, what is this comic right now? But finally, we get to the story. I think that we're teased in the cover, right? And this is our main story.
Yeah, they do this a lot, where the cover story is the last story, so you have to, I guess, read the whole thing unless you want to skip to the end.
You're building anticipation, is what's going on.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we're finally going to learn the secret behind Owlman. And it's Batman's got a new partner, the man to take Robin's place, Owlman. So how do we get here?
So here's what happens. This object that Superman found floating in outer space is lead-lined, so he couldn't use his X-ray vision. So Bruce is going to look at it. But when Dick is too close and opens the box, he's engulfed by alien gas that turns him into a grown man.
And we know this mainly because they drew him with his pants being shorter.
Yes, his pants are shorter, and he's taller now. He's as tall as Bruce.
Yeah. And so just as they're trying to wrap their heads around this, Bruce looks super aroused, by the way. Well, no, maybe I'm reading into it anyway, but the bat signal goes off. And they got to spring into crime. And again, this is one of the best lines. It won't fit. What am I going to do? Because now, the Robin costume doesn't fit because he's a grown man. And Batman says, stay home. Don't you realize that people see a suddenly grown-up Dick Grayson and a grown-up Robin, they'll connect the two identities.
This Batman is so obsessed with protecting a secret identity in a way that is just hilarious. And then this leads into my favorite bit, and I think you listeners will enjoy it as well. Dick Grayson, I've got an idea. Since I'm a man now, why can't there be two of us? Two Batmen. Followed by Bruce going, no, Dick, you may look like a man, but you'll think like a boy. Act like a boy. You've got a lot of growing up to do before you're really a man.
In fairness, he says, you've got a lot of growing to do, not growing up. I mean, I'm just pointing that out there.
That is fair. But I like this idea of Dick Grayson being like, why can't there be two Batmen? Followed immediately by, no, there can't be two Batmen.
Well, and then, but when Batman leaves, Dick reacts like an impulsive youngster. I'll show him.
Finds a masquerade like costume. So like, this is just a costume of an owl, like a guy looking like an owl, because they used to just, make costumes like that.
Well, sure. And it's for a masquerade ball next week. It's a full owl costume with wings, a hat, and then tights. And Dick quickly puts this on, hangs onto the side of the Batmobile.
Undetected.
And every panel in this is just gold here. They're stealing, like, everything here is amazing. In just one panel, we've got the diamonds. Huh? Batman. The Daredevils again. The three circus acrobats who turned bandits. What? So much is going on.
Who also all look oddly close to Marvel's Daredevil years before he exists.
That is true. That is true. Okay, so they swing in Batman and Owlman, and Batman knows, and he looks pissed off. Dick, wearing my masquerade costume. This foolish kid disobeyed my orders. I'd tan his hide if he wasn't so big now. His first thought is, I'm going to give this kid a spanking.
I love that he's thinking that in the middle of fighting the Daredevils.
So the Daredevils get away, basically, in many cases, because Owlman, who has wings, jumps down, but there's a flagpole which would hold a boy, but not a man.
Which doesn't make sense, because I'm pretty sure we have seen Batman swing off of flagpoles before. Sure.
Absolutely. So this immediately leads to news everywhere that Batman has a new sidekick. And this is bad. And, somebody's checking into, that why isn't Dick going to school? And Batman's clearly super nervous that his whole secret identity is going to get blown, because he's like, he hasn't been at hope. I hope he'll be back to his normal self soon. Meanwhile, Dick is taken to just staring at his former children friends playing baseball and then looking at himself in his underwear in the mirror. That's grown men.
Yeah. And also now these gangsters are worried about Owlman, and this is, again, one of my favorite parts. Things weren't tough enough when we had to worry about Batman and a kid. Yeah, now we got two men to worry about.
Two men.
And this is a conversation between three men.
Oh, sure.
Oh, no, we got to worry about two men. There's only three of us.
I love, so Dick decides to go take this stuff on his own. He breaks in, he immediately knocks himself out because he's tall now. He doesn't duck, hits a beam. This is Dick Grayson, Nightwing, who, of course, is the ass that everybody wants, knocking himself out on a rafter.
Yeah, because he doesn't realize he's big. He didn't have the, I feel like they probably must have read this when they were coming up for the script of Tom Hanks Big.
Absolutely. This absolutely did.
I also love how he's clearly jumping down into this warehouse and then had to go out of his way to jump up to hit the rafter and knock himself out.
Well, anyway, they unmask him. They can't recognize him. He hopes Batman will show up. As luck would have it, Batman comes crawling through the window, undoubtedly. And, Batman, gulp, you were right. I've still got a lot of growing to do before I can be a real man. To which Batman says, well, as long as you can admit that, then you're not a kid any longer. Come on, partner. Let's show him how a couple of men can fight. So they take down the Daredevils. Batman, part of how he manages to beat them is he hurls himself upon a desk chair so he can ride it with its spinning wheels and catch up with the Daredevils. Batman is riding around on a wheeled chair.
Yeah. And he's actually able, like one of the Daredevils, mind you, these Daredevils are all former circus performers, couldn't get out of the way of a rolling desk chair.
Oh, it's beautiful. They do get the criminals. Suddenly, hours later, Dick Grayson gets dizzy. Fortunately, Batman gets him into bed. And then he shrinks back down to a boy. And goes and rejoins his friends to play baseball, basically. The three Daredevils say, we'll get even with Batman. We'll expose his identity now that we know what his partner looks like. But little do they know, the man no longer exists because he's a boy again.
Yep.
And that is the story of Owlman. And then there's another cartoon, but that's fine. So what all I know is we need to do more of these comics.
Yeah, no, the Silver Age Batman's also really great. I mean, definitely want to do more Superman and Lois and Jimmy and all that stuff too. But I realized we've been overlooking the Silver Age Batman, which is also completely insane and worthy of conversation.
Well, Joe, thank you very much. It's been a long time. So glad to get back doing this again. And so let's get to more. In fact, the next issue of Batman, if I look at the issue that follows this, it features the career of Batman Jones.
Yep.
Who writes
it's the next issue of Batman is also about a kid riding a bicycle like Batman made the kid in this issue. The thing with Batman Jones is he was named Batman by his parents.
Oh, that's nice. Literally, that's
his name is Batman Jones.
All right. Well, that's a tease for next time. Joe, thank you very much. And let's do this again real soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Life is a